This is a Dragon Blazer production, and I am the little boogeyman.
All right.
Live from New York, it's Saturday night!
Your mama son! This fun, but what? Jungle Bunny. Peckerwood. Birdhead. Cracker.
I'm glad you got me to redo how I do my intros. I do like the way we do them now.
Right?
These are cool. Anyways, hi, welcome to...
Definitely worth the work you put into it.
Thank you. Welcome to Lorne Michaels Will Hate This SNL podcast. I am, of course, your weekly host, Stevie Blaze, and as always, we have my lovely co-host, the Lady Jen.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank
How
you.
was your
Thank
week?
you. It was busy.
Busy. Yes, you were
Busy.
just mentioning that.
Yeah.
Yes, it was
Completely.
busy.
I'm pretty sure I'm on the spectrum. Like, we're getting my son diagnosed. We're on the very last stage. He should be diagnosed on his birthday. But I'm realizing like there are some things that I do that are like I'm organizing books and I love it. Like I am enjoying it. Like I'm like, ooh, look at this mess of stuff that I get to organize. And I'm like organizing it within units and centers and then taking the center books and organizing those within the units. And my teacher across the hall was like, this is giving me anxiety. Makes me happy.
I mean, I'm glad you're happy.
Yeah. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. I really like to organize.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Put them in piles. Match.
Well,
Tons of fun.
I am not on any spectrums, I don't believe. So but on today's episode we watched the December 13th episode from 1975. On December 13th, the number one song, we have a new number one song.
Ooh, yay. Is it a Christmassy song?
It is not actually.
Okay.
I'm kind of surprised now that you mention it.
Because Mariah Carey's not out yet.
Yeah, Mariah Carey hasn't dominated these things yet. So it's a song I've literally never heard before, so I'm not even going to try to get you to guess it because I've never heard of it.
Okay,
I mean,
that's good because we all know how great I am at the guessing games.
Yeah. I can't even give you a clue because I have no contention other than
Wouldn't it be hilarious if I've heard of them?
Yeah, it will be funny. Well, here's the song is from a band called Silver Convention. Have you ever heard of Silver Convention?
No.
Same. Me neither. There appears to be three ladies, and here it is.
I don't think I've heard this song.
Neither have I.
It's groovy.
It definitely goes balls deep in the disco. Up to the sky. I'm not saying.
Oh, I like it.
I don't know how I feel. I mean, it's got some good beats to it, so there's that.
It makes me want to dance. I like it.
Well, I mean, that is what disco was for, wasn't it?
Right?
I mean, pretty much. So, the number one movie has not changed. It is still One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Christmas movies did not take that over. And a little bit of trivia for today. Have you ever heard of the band Blink-182?
Yes. Because I'm old like you.
Yes. Tom DeLonge. He is the guitarist for Blink-182, and he was born in Poway, California on this day.
Oh, well, that's cool.
So
I like Blink-182.
I saw that, and I'm like, I like Blink-182. That seems like good information.
We're of that age.
So yeah, we
We could
watched.
sing all the songs.
I mean, Blink-182 was the shit back then.
Right?
Do
you have lyrics running through your head right now?
I know a song, but I'm not getting the lyrics in my head. Like, damn it.
Okay.
But
I'm a very lyric person. My husband is very music, like he remembers like the music parts, but I like very focused on lyrics.
I understand. Oh no, I do got you lyrics. All the small things.
Yeah, I was like, how is that not in your head right now?
I don't know why it didn't pop in my head right away. I'm thinking of "Damn It" instead of all the small things. I don't know what's wrong with me. So we watched the December 13th
That was funnier
episode.
than the cold opening.
I liked the cold opening, but anyways, we watched Richard Pryor, the host Richard Pryor.
I was so excited for him.
Yes. So we're going to have some differing of views because this is by far, I think, the best episode we've got. It's also the highest rated episode on IMDb, if you look it up.
Really? I thought Richard Pryor's first stand-up thing was funny, but literally that's the only thing. I didn't even find the Dredges and Vestiges funny.
Yeah, it was probably the weakest of those, and that's saying something for me. I know you like them, but yeah, that was probably the weakest for sure. But yeah, it was Richard Pryor. Musical guest was Gil Scott Heron, which I had never heard before, but I thought he was pretty decent.
I enjoyed the what I just do. Yes, I enjoyed the music.
But yes, this is rated 8.3, and I do believe I'm looking through. It's by far the highest rated episode. Oh, 1 second. Let's pause this. We lost her. All right, we had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're back. So yeah, I looked it up. This was an 8.3 on IMDb. This is the highest rated episode on IMDb for this season.
I find that surprising.
Definitely the highest rated that we've seen. Before that, the highest rated was George Carlin. But I feel like that a lot of that was based on the fact that it was the first ever episode, and there is a lot of interesting backstage stuff about this episode. So, for one, and I'm going to read these off of IMDb. They had a lot of. I found this out in different sources, but IMDb had most of this information. Richard Pryor agreed to host the show only if his friends poet Gil Scott Heron, actors Thalmus Rasulula and Annazette Chase, girlfriend Kathy McKee, and ex-wife Shelley R. Bonus could perform on the show. He also demanded that his writer Paul Mooney writes all of his sketches. Flying back to New York, a frustrated Lorne Michaels said he'd better be funny. Now,
wait a minute.
Yeah.
He had all of his sketches written
by his own writer. He forced his writer. He forced them to have his writer write the sketches.
Okay.
According to Paul Mooney, he wrote the Exorcist 2 sketch specifically for Lorraine Newman because the show's writers refused to write for her.
Wait, who was Lorraine Newman? Was that his girlfriend?
No, Lorraine Newman was the girl that played the girl in the bed during the sketch.
Why didn't they want to write a sketch for her?
He was essentially said that he felt like the writers were not writing enough stuff for her.
Oh, okay.
So he wrote that for her. Fearing, this is another thing that I've heard a couple different. I've heard a couple different things about this. Fearing Richard Pryor would say things that were too offensive for television at the time, the show is placed on a 7-second delay for the very first time. That way they could quickly bleep out something if he. So this episode supposedly, now I've also heard that they weren't able to figure it out, but supposedly they put this episode on a delay so everything wasn't directly live because they were worried Pryor might go on a rant. And since this was an early episode, they were worried that if Pryor did something like that, that'd get canceled by NBC for being too offensive.
My husband mentioned that Richard Pryor he was surprised that his acts were so clean. He was like, he found him funny, and he was surprised that he was funny without being.
According to Garrett Morris is the guy that was in the cold open sketch.
Oh,
the black guy.
Okay.
That's on Saturday Night Live. Richard Pryor was told that Morris was an unreliable performer, so Pryor did not work with Morris on any sketches. That's why he wasn't in anything. Morris feels that his role in a movie called Critical Condition was Pryor's way of apologizing to him. Also, Garrett Morris getting to say live from New York at Saturday night. He is the only cast member to get to say it besides Chevy Chase this entire season. According to Paul Mooney, you know what? We'll wait for that one. According to Dave Wilson, the episode did not air on a delay as commonly believed. Wilson says that he and the crew could not figure out how to work the delay, so the episode did appear live. According to Lorne Michaels, he threatened to quit the show if NBC did not allow Richard Pryor to host the show. He thought it was that important having Richard Pryor.
Did they not want to let him host because of his swear word usage?
Probably. And I mean, I think it goes without saying, but Richard Pryor is the first black man to host Saturday Night Live.
Well, that's true.
Yes. So we have the first woman, and we've had two women, and Richard Pryor is the first black. Now, at this time, Richard Pryor is one of the hottest comedians in America at this time. This is why
I've heard
wanted him here.
I've heard he's so funny. Everybody knows about him.
You're gonna piss off a lot of Pryor fans.
Well,
anyways, yes. So we get the cold open, and we get Chevy Chase.
I mean, he was funny once. Like one of his things was funny. Wow. Well, I mean, like one of his skits was funny. Like I found his. We'll get there.
So I liked the cold open. I liked this whole breaking the fourth wall, having Garrett Morris tell Chevy's like, I was told that I was supposed to do the pratfall, and then he does a terrible pratfall, which I thought was pretty funny.
I thought it was pretty stupid. I thought you were going to say stupid.
Pretty funny. Because it was obvious he was just, like, he did the pratfall terrible on purpose.
Oh, he did?
Yes, absolutely he did.
Oh, I didn't get that.
Well, yeah, that's why. I mean, it's not like Chevy Chase just afterwards, after he did a terrible pratfall, it's not like Chevy Chase is like, no, you got to do it like this. And he showed him the right way. Well, he did it bad so Chevy Chase could show him the right way and do the actual pratfall. And then Garrett Morris got to say the thing. It was all a bit.
I mean, I get that it was a bit. I just didn't think it was funny.
Then we get the first monologue with the Richard Pryor. I enjoyed this monologue.
I did too. This was the part I thought was funny.
It's a whole bit about him taking acid. So yeah, I like that.
And you can tell he's taking acid.
Yeah. His character work is really done. Now, here's the weird thing is, as I mentioned last week, I didn't like the whole one-man show, but I don't know, this worked for me. This one actually did work.
I was cracking up.
I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I find Richard Pryor funnier than Lily Tomlin, but this worked a lot for me. The Lily Tomlin seemed more like a character work, where this had more funny bits to it, where that was just like, that was like acting with no one there, and it just didn't have a lot of funny bits in my.
Right. This was funny. This was very funny. Also, did you see his shoes? Like they had heels like this. They were really cool. Like they were like,
it was probably platform shoes. It's the 70s.
They were very 70s shoes.
Now the next sketch gave me so much excitement. The Samurai Hotel. These sketches are classic, and we're going to get more of these.
I thought it was so stupid.
So stupid. This is also the first time John Belushi.
Sorry.
This is also the first time that John Belushi actually speaks like normal English when he says when he talks to Pryor at the very end. He's like, "Oh no, I dig it," or something like that. He doesn't do that in any other of these samurai sketches. But the whole bit, as if because you've only seen one, you might not even realize this. The whole idea is to throw a samurai in different scenarios that you would not expect to see a samurai in. So he's like the curator of a hotel in this one. He's doing a whole thing parodying, I believe, a famous samurai named Yojimbo. I should have done more of a deep dive on that, but he modeled his look and everything after this samurai named Yojimbo. And he just thought it would be funny.
Well, if it's a bit, then you can give us more information next time.
Yes, next time we have one of these, I'll probably do that.
Probably still won't be funny.
So let's talk about this. What did you not like about it?
Like the whole talking to it, like I didn't understand it. Like, okay, so you're talking to each other. Like you're not talking to this guy in English. You're just kind of ignoring him. Like, it just didn't make any sense. I didn't get it.
He's speaking in a broken like Japanese accent. Is what he's trying to do. The whole thing.
Right.
And then you have Richard Pryor.
But was the other guy supposed to be like the other samurai guy? Pardon me.
Well, in samurai movies,
was he supposed to be the same? Like, not really a samurai, just a guy pretending to be a samurai?
No, they were.
Or was he actually supposed to be a samurai?
So the reason they brought in Richard Pryor, obviously, because you have Richard Pryor, you want to throw him in every sketch as you can.
Right.
But the whole point of Richard Pryor being there and them doing it, and I think this is the only time that somebody else pretends to be a samurai as well, in these bits. But the whole point is, in samurai movies, a lot of times you have a duel. So Richard Pryor was literally there for an excuse for them to get in an argument and then have a duel, and then causing Richard Pryor to win the duel and cut down the thing. So it's like a spoof on samurai movies.
Okay.
Which I guess if you've never seen a samurai movie, I guess none of this tracks for you. They're warriors. They fight.
I know what a samurai is.
Right. Well, their movies are normally super dramatic, and that they're going out and having fights with other people. And the whole concept of this is throwing that samurai in everyday situations. I forget what's next, but like this one, he's working at a hotel, and another one I know that I remember another one where he's a delicatessen. He's making, somebody comes in wanting a sandwich, and he starts cutting the subs in half and stuff. You may just hate all these, but I love these. Now, there might be something to be said about the fact that a white man is playing a Japanese samurai, but, that's a whole other argument.
We're not going to go there.
All right.
That's the least of this episode's issues.
Oh. Let's move on to Gil Scott Heron. He sings a song, Johannesburg.
I loved it. I really enjoyed it.
It's from
What's
the album.
The word from Johannesburg.
Yeah. It's from the album From South Africa to South Carolina, released November of 1975, and it made it to 29 on the Hot 100 chart. Yeah, I thought it was a decent song. I didn't have any issues with Gil Scott. He was all right.
I enjoyed it.
I dig. And the next sketch we get is a Looks on Books. But this is a recurring sketch. We had a Looks on Books already. And this time it is about a black man pretending to be a white man to see what life was like as being a white man. I thought this was funny as hell.
No, I was like, it's like the same thing you did before.
Same thing you did before?
Yeah, like they did it before with the woman.
Well, you may appreciate this, actually. Because remember when you said that there was a woman that did this?
Yes. Is there a man that did this?
There's a man who did this.
Oh, I didn't know.
This was making fun of a book called Black Like Me. First published in 1961, is a nonfiction book by journalist John Howard Griffin, recounting his journey in the Deep South of the United States at a time when African Americans lived under racial segregation. Griffin was a native of Mansfield, Texas, who had his skin temporarily darkened to pass as a black man. He traveled for 6 weeks throughout the racially segregated states of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, and Georgia to explore life from the other side of the color line. Sepia magazine financed the project in exchange for the right to print the account first as a series of articles.
Okay, think how dangerous that was.
If
anybody figured it out.
If he talked to the wrong white girl.
You could talk to the wrong black girl. Like, you know what I'm saying? You could talk to the wrong anybody.
Yeah.
I mean,
like, it's dangerous on both sides because, you would.
Right,
If you got found out by a black man,
right,
the black person, that could be dangerous. They might get pretty upset about that.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
But I was more talking about the fact that racially segregated white areas.
Yeah, that too. Like, I mean, it's just super duper dangerous.
There's so little that you could get yourself in trouble with when it comes to white people in the racially segregated South.
Right.
1961?
Oy.
Yeah.
I hope that
what if he came across the KKK?
Right. I hope he was able to spread, real news and make changes, and it wasn't just for money. That's what I hope. Yeah,
right. So, yeah. So this is a direct parody of that book.
Okay.
Does that make you like it more, or still not a fan?
It's still not funny, but I appreciate it more.
Seeing him doing the white walk was pretty funny. I enjoyed it. It did remind me of a skit we're going to be getting in quite a few years, but we'll get to that
in a few years.
Longer. Yeah, quite a bit down the line. It's a sketch that is done by Eddie Murphy. So that's what we have to look forward to. It's great. It's a great sketch. It's also way funnier, I think. Then we get a repeat of Dad Insurance. So I've been listening to some podcasts and stuff. Apparently the recurring, like them redoing like commercial sketches and it's I guess it's a time thing. Like getting to put those on allows them to set up this like set up a set for the next set, or you know.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, because this is a live show. So
Right.
I think they've gotten better, or they're just better at it these days, so they don't do it as much nowadays. But I guess that's why it happens so much in the early episodes. You do a repeat sketch, that way um you can get things ready for the next.
That makes sense.
Next we get
I bet you found the lineup hilarious.
the lineup sketch. Yeah, I mean it's not very funny. I mean I had a chuckle. Yeah. I mean all three of them were pretty good.
No, I was like, oh, this again.
Yeah. They were quick.
They were quick.
Next, we get word association. This is considered one of the funniest sketches of all time.
I've heard.
You heard? Did your husband tell you this?
Yes.
Yeah. And you didn't like it.
It seemed like it would be something I would enjoy.
I don't know. I'm still learning your sense of humor. Okay.
No,
So
I don't like name calling. It was cringy. It was just made me uncomfortable. I didn't like it.
apparently this was created. You might appreciate it a little bit more when you find this out.
Probably not.
According to Paul Mooney, the famous word association sketch was inspired by an incident that he had with NBC executives. According to Mooney, he was subjected to an intense job interview before he was allowed to write for the episode, which he found kind of like they grilled him before they would let him do what
Right.
Richard Pryor wanted him to do. So Mooney made this sketch, and then it was also stated that Richard Pryor disliked Chevy Chase. But Chase insisted and begged for Mooney to write a sketch for them. Because Richard Pryor is one of the hottest things out there. He wanted to be in a sketch with Richard Pryor. But Richard Pryor's
like,
him.
no, you're not funny. You're a fucking toddler.
So Mooney made this sketch as a kind of a fuck you.
I guess NBC, I do like it a little more now. Yeah.
To NBC and Chevy Chase.
You know what? That does make it funny. That makes it funny. Just the fact, the fact that the whole thing was meant to make Chevy Chase uncomfortable, who I already don't find funny.
Yeah.
Apparently was an ass. Like, that makes it funny.
I found it funny.
It makes it less cringy.
Yeah.
Because you were supposed to be, okay.
It was
you changed my mind.
And the best part of it for me was Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor's facial expressions in a lot of these sketches, like his stand-up, his facial expressions, is one of the reasons the stand-up is so funny, is because of his facial expressions. And in this scene, just watching him just slowly dive into anger about everything he says.
Right, but see, that's what makes me cringe and uncomfortable.
Honky. It's so good.
But knowing that he wasn't really angry and that he was...
Well, you got to realize this is all acting, right?
I know, but
You forget.
I'm just...
But, and then I love that, especially knowing Chevy Chase and how much of an asshole he is. Watching Chevy Chase, and I know it's an acting, I know it's just a story and a sketch. Watching Chevy Chase, beg, freaking out after he says, "Dead honky." And then Chevy Chase is like, "Oh, you got the job. Would you like that? No, that's not enough. How about we trip? You'll be the highest paid janitor of all time." And he's like, "When do I get to start?" He's like, "You know what? You look like you could use some rest. Take 2 weeks off paid." Just watching Chevy Chase get all nervous and everything after all that. I thought it was great. It's a great sketch. Next, we get another Pong sketch.
They're really hard to pay attention to.
They are, and I didn't put any notes because I was like, what?
I wrote Pong again,
still
can't pay attention to both.
It was the worst. It was the worst one, our worst one out of the three that we've got.
Yes. I have no idea what they were talking about.
Next, we get the sketch where Dan Aykroyd is constantly complaining about black people taking over the neighborhood. Yes. And then one by one, his whole family changes to black people and he doesn't even notice. I thought this was great. And just Dan Aykroyd playing it straight is so good. You didn't like it? I
don't know. No, I didn't get it. Like, it just...
Well, the whole time he's complaining about black people taking over the neighborhood, and then one by one...
Right, so then he would notice if his family... Like, and it doesn't even make sense that his family... If it were his neighbors, that would make sense, and then it would be funny. But...
I thought it was sense. It makes sense. It's just... He's just complaining to complain, and he's not even paying attention that his family's taken over by black people.
Well, then he's not complaining to complain if it's actually happening, so much so that it's happening to his family.
I liked it. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention is it was talked about having Dan Aykroyd do the Chevy Chase role in that last sketch with word association. And I think that this is the one time I do think Chevy Chase was the better option. Because Dan Aykroyd would probably play it completely straight. You know, he's way better at that kind of like business as usual. But having Chevy Chase, you know, he's kind of cocky. He's a little bit of an asshole. Made the sketch a completely different sketch than if Dan Aykroyd would have been.
That's true. Especially because he didn't like him.
Especially since Richard Pryor didn't like him, yeah. Then we get the weekend update.
I literally wrote weekend update. Chevy Chase is a toddler.
I thought
his hands were shaking a lot. Was he on drugs back then?
Probably. I don't know, but I don't know if for sure. But you know, it's the 70s, so it's very possible. I do think that this is probably one of the better weekend updates we've gotten so far. I thought there was some good jokes. They start off with that Francissimo or whatever it is still dead. Apparently that is a recurring joke that we will get often.
Okay.
And you know who that guy was, right?
No.
He's the guy that he announced died last week. We talked about it last week. The France became a monarchy when he died. He was a dictator.
Okay. Yes.
So, yeah, that's the same guy, and he'll bring him up quite a few times.
Okay.
It's a running joke. He's still dead. Then we get a making fun of the Democrats and calling them clowns with pictures of clowns, which fine. The next joke is talking about how Henry Kissinger is tired of using his silly accent and will speak in English. Do you know who Henry Kissinger is? Well, good.
I'm really bad at names. Like, I have a very bad memory for names.
Well, this time I actually have a video for this.
Oh, all right.
But let me tell you real quick. Henry Alfred Kissinger, May 27th, 1923 was when he was born. November 29th, he passed away in 2000. He actually just died in 2023.
Wow. When was he born?
He was born 1923.
Oh, so he lived to be 100.
He lived exactly 100 years. Yep.
Awesome. Who is he?
So he was an American. He was an American diplomat and political scientist who served as the United States Secretary of State from 1973 to 1977 and National Security Advisor from 1969 to 75 in the presidential administrations of Richard Nixon and Gerald Ford. I believe he was also a Jewish. He was from Germany, and he was Jewish, and I believe he moved to the United States, to avoid persecution.
Okay.
So he was a refugee, I guess is what you could call him. Because they don't like Jewish people in Germany in 1930s and 40s. But here is, oops, that's not what I wanted. I guess it works though, huh? You can see this, right?
Yes, I can.
But it's at the end of it. 1 second, let me restart that. Okay, that is not loading up. So we're just going to ignore that one and do the one I meant to do anyways. Remove. Nope, remove. Gotta yell at these things.
No, I'm staying.
Don't make me leave.
When I first came to this country, I was very conscious of my accent. That was before I turned it into a trademark. But when I was in the army, I thought I lost my accent because my fellow soldiers who came mostly from northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin, never referred to it. It was not until I came back to Harvard that people reminded me and asked me where I really came from. No one in the Army had ever asked me that question.
So yeah, that was Henry Kissinger talking about his accent. And that's who he was. And I thought that was a good video to share, considering the joke was about him.
Right.
All right. Next, we get Reagan talking about how it's not a big deal. He may have started Bedtime for Bonzo. I looked it up. Bedtime for Bonzo is a real movie.
Oh, okay.
That Ronald Reagan started. It was about a college professor attempts to salvage his personal and professional relationship by using a laboratory chimpanzee to prove that the environment trumps heredity and behavioral development.
Okay.
Came out, I believe it was 1951. It was the 50s or 60s. So I thought that was interesting. That was a real movie he was joking about.
That is. I wonder if the movie was good.
Do you like most 50 movies?
I mean, it like for the time. Like, was it a good movie or did it flop? Like,
I mean, you know what? I don't know, because I know Reagan was an actor before he became president.
Right, but was he like a hot actor, or was he like?
I don't know if he was a good actor.
Right, I don't either.
Or just a actor.
Right.
Next, we get CIA trying to assassinate Fidel Castro. That joke. This is also true.
Oh.
Very true. So not this. So putting commandos in his beard and having them shoot little flamethrowers. That's not true.
Right.
But apparently, the CIA did constantly try to assassinate Fidel Castro. It is said that he had 638 attempts on his life. Not all of that was by the CIA. Other people also tried to assassinate Fidel. But yes, he was he had a lot of assassination attempts. I believe I saw a list of people who had the most. I think Hitler only had like 43 assassination attempts. This man had like over 600. In fairness, I think Fidel Castro was in power. By the way, you're muted again. I can't hear you.
Oh wow.
But apparently, in fairness, Hitler was only in power for a couple, like maybe 15, 20 years. Fidel Castro, I believe, was in power for a long time.
Yes, that's true.
Also, like the gays in sports joke. And talking about the head of the MLB and I believe NFL being found in a suit together. I thought that was pretty funny.
I don't think I got it. I didn't write anything down about that one.
So essentially the joke was how people are concerned about gay people being in sports.
Oh, okay.
And then they're like, there was a meeting about it where the head of the NFL and the head of the MLB are in a private suite together, suggesting that they.
I gotcha.
And apparently this came about because in 1975, David Kopay, a former football player, became the first professional athlete from a major team to come out as gay. However, the public largely denied Kopay's claims that other professional athletes were also gay. In 1977, a study published in the Journal of Sex Research found that about 25% of male college athletes had gay experiences. So this was in response to that, I believe.
Okay. Still not funny.
Huh?
Still not funny.
I thought it was kind of funny. Then they followed up a joke about the head of Gay Alliance not having hidden gays in his organization. You didn't find that funny either?
No. Because I was like, well, of course there's gays in his foundation.
That's the joke!
Oh.
He's saying that I don't have hidden gays in my organization because they're the Gay Alliance. They're all gay.
Right.
That's a joke. It's a joke. You really don't get sarcasm, do you?
I try.
You try. I liked it. I thought it was a funny joke. Then we get another George Wallace joke. I don't judge a man for the color of his skin. I judge a man by how well you can see him in the dark when he smiles.
Right? Like,
I enjoy the constant digs on George Wallace. As we've mentioned many times before, because he's been brought up on the show quite a few times, he's the segregation forever, segregation now guy. So just having all these jokes that are trying to make it point out how racist he is, I thought was funny. In fairness, apparently around this time, George Wallace was trying to distance himself from the segregation views. He was trying to become an ally. And of course, comedians are not letting that be forgotten.
right?
So I liked it. I always like when racists are made fun of. It makes me happy. Ford removing food from his house with chopsticks with a postcard to his son. Having a wonderful time. Where am I? Just, they like to point out that he's clumsy and stupid. We get a joke about Cher going back to Sunny and starting up a new variety show. Here's the interesting thing. He said that it will last for 2 seasons. The Sonny and Cher variety show did in fact air in 1976. This was the announcement of that show becoming a show.
Oh, okay.
And it did only last for 2 seasons, ending in 1977.
Oh, that's funny.
Obviously, there was no way they would know it only lasts 2 seasons, so that was just
right.
a prediction. It was simply called the Sonny and Cher show. Next, we get air traffic controller talking about how a crash was a merger with a TWA plane and a United Airlines plane. Saying they had a merger, and their merger was that they actually crashed.
I didn't get it.
Okay, so they were talking about a merger.
Right. I got that. But I guess I just didn't get that they were talking about the airplanes crashing into each other.
Well, here's the thing. It's real.
Oh.
This happened. Did it
The
happen
airplane crash or the merger?
The airplane crash.
Oh, okay.
And it was with so I looked it up. TWA plane and a United Airlines plane did crash, but it was on December 16th, 1960. A United Airlines Douglas DC-8 bound for Idlewild Airport, now John F. Kennedy International Airport, in New York City collided in midair with a TWA Lockheed L-1049 Super Constellation. Descending toward LaGuardia Airport, the Constellation crashed on Miller Field in Staten Island, and the DC-8 in Park Slope, Brooklyn, killing all 128 aboard the two aircraft and 6 people on the ground. The accident was the world's deadliest aviation disaster at the time and remains the deadliest accident in the history of United Airlines.
They made a joke about the deadliest airline crash ever?
They made a joke about the air traffic controller talking about the deadliest. Yes, they did.
I stand by my not funny.
It wasn't the funniest thing to me either, but I just thought that information was interesting. You know, Weekend Update traditionally talks about true, like, most of it's real news.
Right, but you shouldn't make jokes about death.
Do you know how many Nazi jokes I make about the Holocaust? All the time. Some people to survive, they need to see the darkness as humor.
Okay. I'm not that kind of person.
Me and most of my family are.
Hey, it takes all kinds to make the world go round.
We're also Germans, so you know we have to throw the German jokes around.
That's fair, I suppose.
People don't have a high opinion of us Germans, even though my family left Germany before Hitler became because Hitler was rising to power, I believe. So
well, that's good.
Yeah. Anyways, we're not talking about my great grandparents' story. Time Magazine's The Truth on J. Edgar Hoover joke was about his secrecy of hence the one page. He said something about how there was an article in Time Magazine about J. Edgar Hoover.
Yeah.
And that it was only one page. It's because the FBI was very secret. He was the head of the FBI.
Makes sense.
This article did come out 3 years after his death, and he died in 1972. This was a real Time Magazine article, The Truth of J. Edgar Hoover. Obviously, it wasn't just one page. That was a joke. That was what the joke was, that it was one page. Apparently, there's a lot of controversy about J. Edgar Hoover, but that's not what this joke is about. The Pope flying joke, this is just a visual gag, I think. Didn't find anything about this. We get another Spud beer commercial. And then we get the classic. And we've seen her earlier. She was interviewed earlier. Emily Latilla. Talking about
the editorial reply.
With the busting school children.
Yes, the busing, not busting.
Yes.
Yes.
You didn't like this?
I didn't think it was funny. I didn't write LOL.
You didn't.
I didn't write LOL.
I love this character. especially early on. I guess a lot of people do have an issue with this character later because she comes back often on Weekend Update to do these kind of things where she mishears something. Because that's the whole joke, is that she thinks that they said busting school children. She goes on a rant about it, and then somebody explains to her it was busing, and she's like, "Oh, never mind."
Okay, I can see that. I can see where that would be funny.
That's what you didn't get that part of the joke.
I mean, I didn't write down that I laughed.
Well, that's what the joke is that she's hard of hearing. That character is hard of hearing, and she constantly starts going on rants about something that sounds wrong, and then finds out that it's not what she thought it was. Just mishearing things. That's the joke. There was a joke about Eunice.
Can I take 1 second to go let my dog out? She's like,
oh, well, yeah. Let me pause this. All right. The next joke was a UNICEF joke that I didn't fully get, but I did find out. Do you know what UNICEF stands for?
No.
United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund.
Oh, yes.
So
that sounds correct.
There was also something about Spyro Agnew on confetti. Not sure what that was about. I don't remember. Sorry, I watched this a couple days ago. I had my kids this weekend. Didn't want to force them to watch Saturday Night Live, so I watched it like Saturday, I think it was.
I know, that's when I watched it too. I really need to watch it on Tuesdays.
Well, I work on Tuesdays, so it's.
I watch it during my. I like to watch it during my break.
And I do it. I do it. I do a lot more research than you, so it takes me like 3 hours to do one episode.
That's true.
So
I just enjoy the episode and write things down as I go.
Right. I constantly pause it, do some research, and then write down what I find, and then I also, after watching it, I also listen to a couple podcasts about Saturday Night Live. I watch a YouTube channel about it to see if there's any more things that I didn't know to get more information.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's a whole thing for me.
Doing all that research.
So, sometimes they somehow find stuff that I can't find online. So,
cool.
Anyways, next we get a Frank Sinatra joke. How turns the shit hits the fan with ship hitting the fan. From what I can tell, this is simply a joke. It has no truth other than Sinatra did have a 60th birthday party on a yacht. In fact, it looks like he has a lot of his birthday parties on his yacht.
Well, if you've got a yacht, what better place to have a birthday party?
That's true. We get another hard of hearing thing. This is just getting old.
Right?
I like the joke, but
it was funny the first time.
But they don't do anything different with it. They just keep doing it. We get another lineup sketch.
Yes. This is where I wrote lineup icebox.
Lineup what?
Icebox.
Icebox. All right.
I don't know.
Next, after that, you get your Land of Gorch. Bubis is drunk and goes to see the Mighty Favog. The Mighty Favog came back.
Yeah, I just didn't think it was very funny.
And there's, jokes about Wizard of Oz. It wasn't great.
No. And I like the Wizard of Oz, so.
I like the next we get another lineup thing, and it's a bunch of cops pointing at Richard Pryor, which I thought was funny.
All right, line up again.
Yes.
It was so much. It was like, come on.
Then we get another Exorcist. Then we get the Exorcist sketch. The Exorcist came out in 1973. I liked the sketch.
I enjoyed it, but I didn't think it was funny.
You didn't like when he's like, They're trying to do the exorcist. He's like, the bed is on my leg. It's on my foot. Yeah.
The bed is on my foot.
I enjoyed it.
Would you please take the bed off my foot?
And then then the all it took was the demon to talk about their mothers, and then they're just trying to kill her.
Yeah.
Don't you be talking about my mama? I thought it was funny.
I didn't.
Have you ever seen The Exorcist?
Yes. I love horror movies.
Okay, I was just checking,
I love ghosts, supernatural horror movies. I don't like violence but I do
slashers.
Right. But I do love the show Supernatural.
I love the show Supernatural as well.
I've seen it a bunch.
I've seen it a few times myself. Yes.
Oh my God, we should do a podcast on Supernatural.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Much. We should watch Supernatural and do a podcast on that. Oh, that would be awesome.
That's only slightly as long as this is.
So good, though.
I do love Supernatural. I listen to quite a few podcasts, actually.
With Leviathan. That would be hilarious to watch.
Leviathan don't come until like season 7.
What is it? Yeah, with like the big open mouth.
Yeah, that's like season 7.
Yeah, that one.
Season 4 and 5 is the apocalypse storyline.
Yes,
with Lucifer and everything. That's my favorite scene. That's when you introduce the angels and Castiel. And
so good. Oh my God, I love Castiel. I love Castiel so much. Oh, sorry, we're off topic. I love Castiel so much. I love the actor behind him. That Misha I bought Collins. His cookbook. Yes, I bought his cookbook. It's fascinating. I actually follow him on social media stuff because I just adore him.
He's pretty funny.
Yes, and he's so cute. Oh, I just adore Misha.
I mean,
and his cookbook is really good. I think it's called the Adventurous Eaters Club. Great cookbook for cooking with children and getting them to eat all kinds of stuff. I could go on and on.
Fair enough.
Sorry. Off topic.
It's okay. I love Supernatural. It's all good. Next we get the Al Brooks sick in bed. Interesting parts about this is the voice of the doctor was a Simpsons star. You watched The Simpsons ever? Have you seen
Not in a long time.
Well, you at least know who this guy is. Okay. You know who Harry Shearer is? What if I said, I diddly-ho, neighbor?
Oh, okay. Ned Flanders.
Yes, he's the voice of Ned Flanders. That was the doctor that was on the phone.
Okay. Was this one like based off this guy being overworked? Like, was that a thing? Like, was this guy complaining that he was overworked?
Yeah, it's kind of
like they were making fun of him for being like, "Oh, I'm overworked."
I also believe that I read that NBC wasn't super happy about this because this was him promoting his album. They bleeped it on the show. The albums are called "A Star Is Bought." It was an actual album that he was promoting. So this whole thing was just an excuse to promote his album. I guess NBC wasn't super thrilled about
that. Well, it wasn't super funny, so I get it.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I'll be happy when Al Brooks is over.
Pardon me.
It's okay. Then we get another thing where Pryor starts doing a stand-up and is interrupted by someone yelling conspiracies. I believe about John F. Kennedy's assassination. And then Pryor I had nothing to do with that guy. I thought that was funny. It was quick. It was funny.
I think I might have laughed.
You might have laughed?
I might have laughed.
Okay, well, at least...
It didn't make my notes, but...
Then comes the worst part of this entire episode.
Right?
Shelley Pryor doing a spoken word poem clearly about interracial couples,
Right.
which is fine, I guess, but it wasn't funny at
It
all.
wasn't funny at all.
There's some stuff about this. Shelley Pryor was married to Richard Pryor from 1967 to 1969. And from what, so there's rumors of why Richard pushed to have her on the show. They believe it was a way of avoiding like alimony or child support payments or something. Like, I'll get you on the show. But the thing is he also had his girlfriend on the show. His girlfriend was one of the people in that sketch. In fact, all the people in that sketch where Dan Aykroyd is talking about the blacks taking over, and then all the people taking over.
Yeah.
One was his girlfriend. One was another actress friend of his and stuff. So those were the people that he said had to be on the show with him.
Okay.
But
So like his little entourage.
Yes, and he never told his girlfriend that his ex-wife is going to be on the show.
Oh.
I guess she's come out and she said, "You think you would be like, hey, by the way, my ex-wife's going to be there."
Right? You would think.
You would think, but I guess he did. Pryor did not tell her at all.
Plus, the ex-wife got a whole stupid monologue.
He had a whole stupid monologue doing a spoken word thing that made no sense to be on Saturday Night Live.
Right.
Then we get another Richard Pryor stand-up. I also didn't find this as funny as his first one.
No, it wasn't. The first one was funny. This one was not.
And we end the show off with a Lovely Day by Gil Scott,
which I really enjoyed.
Yeah,
it was
he
a
was
very
fun.
good song.
Yeah, he was fine. I liked him. I liked him a lot. But yeah, I did not like Shelley Pryor.
No.
I mean, I understand why she supports and is fighting for, interracial relationships. She was married to Richard Pryor, so obviously.
Right, I get that.
And I bet she probably took a lot of crap for that.
Oh, I'm sure, especially at that time.
1967. They weren't a big fan of that interracial couples back then.
No, they were not.
But yeah, so that is what this that is the end of this episode. I thought this was a pretty good episode.
Do you think that they would do the skits from this episode today?
Not the word association, I don't think. Well, maybe. I mean, you literally just saw an episode where they had a robot molester.
That's true. That's true. You're right.
Some of the things they want to do today, I do not think they would have.
And like that episode that oh my God, her name just totally fell out of my head.
Lily Tomlin?
No, the
Candice Bergen?
No, the funny lady that did the show with us.
Oh, Megan Claire Murphy.
Yes. The episode she was in, like the skit she was in was all like pedo joke.
I know. That's what I was mentioning. The robot molester. That's the skit she was in.
Yeah.
That's the only
Didn't
new
we watch
sketch you've
Didn't
seen.
we watch another sketch? I feel like we watched another sketch about it.
We only watched the one with the rock and the robot. We haven't watched any new sketches other than that.
Oh.
Yeah. Just that one that had her in it.
I don't know what I'm thinking of.
They are a little more conscientious about what they do. My guess is they probably wouldn't have had nowadays. They probably would not have had John Belushi playing a Japanese samurai. Don't think that sketch would happen these days. But, and I'm not saying they wouldn't do that sketch. They wouldn't have a white man playing.
Right.
But they have Asian people that are on Saturday Night Live now. There's a very funny, popular Asian guy who's also gay. And he does a lot of, So they would have a person of color play that part.
Right. Nowadays. That makes sense.
Mind you, they're not doing that sketch. That's a famous John Belushi sketch. They're not.
Right.
John Belushi's passed away. They're probably not bringing that back. But
Right.
if they were to do a sketch like that, they would have this guy do it, Belushi or someone of that. The word association one, maybe. I believe they've dropped the N-bomb on Saturday Night Live a couple times. Traditionally not from a white person. It's normally to emphasize a joke of some sort. I'm trying to think if there was any. I'll have to look it up and see if I can, because they definitely, especially when there's a black host, they definitely dive into black humor and stuff like that.
Okay.
Not like dark humor, but like
Right. I understood what you meant.
and in those, and there's a lot more black people that are cast members nowadays, and they're normally prominently shown on those episodes as well. So they normally get to do a lot more work when there's a black host. Maybe because that's what they feel more comfortable with. I don't know, but traditionally they do show up a lot more. So yeah, there's some of these sketches, depending on how they do it. I don't know if there's anyone at Chevy Chase level of narcissism and assholeness that would, where they would want to do something to make him feel more comfortable. But I can't say no, because
that's fair.
It depends on I think the humor and the jokes would be done slightly different, but that doesn't mean they would completely take the joke out. So it just, I don't know, maybe I'll find a more of a controversial skit that's shown up, maybe send it to you. There was one, I don't know if it's super controversial, but there was one where, do you know who Travis Kelce is? And this isn't black jokes. This would be more of gay stuff.
Wait, isn't he
dating Taylor Swift's
boyfriend?
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Okay.
So
it took me a minute.
He hosted a recent episode of Saturday Night Live.
Because he's dating Taylor Swift?
No, actually, I think this is before he dated Taylor Swift. I think this was a season ago. So he started dating her in the last football season, which would also be the last season of Saturday Night Live. Anyways, the gay Asian guy that I was telling you about, he was in the sketch, and he, like, the whole sketch is about how he's like, I love my girlfriends and they're fun. He's like, but there's so much drama with when you're talking to girls. And he's like, so sometimes I just need my straight white friend. And then he just talks, and he does this whole, like, it's like a commercial type thing. And he's hanging out with Travis Kelce, and he's like, I love my straight white. If I didn't want some drama free, the most drama he gets is who's gonna win Madden. Like, he's like, no, sometimes my straight white friend will bring up, like, sometimes he'll bring up, like, weird, awkward questions, but he's just genuinely curious. Like, and then Travis Kelce asks him, he's like, so, when you do it, he's like, do you like it on top or bottom? It's like,
he's genuinely curious.
Yeah, he's just curious. And then he's like, now if I tell my girlfriends that if I tell my girlfriends that I'm moving to Paris for 7 years, they will just have a fit and all the drama. He's like, but I tell my straight white friend, and he's like, hey, I think I'm gonna move to Paris for 7 years. He's like, all right, man, cool. He's like, hit me up when you come back. It's like drama free. And then
that's ridiculously true. Wait. It's my first job ever with coworkers. The drama, it's all women. The drama, it's like junior high. I'm like, Matthew, my husband, I was like, is there drama? Because he's always worked in offices, right? Well, except for, during the pandemic when he worked at home. And he's back in the office now. And I'm like, is the drama the same there? He's like, no, there's no drama. And I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe it's just us. And then one day he comes home and he's like, hey, I overheard some drama. This one woman was complaining because she doesn't like this other woman. So
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, they're not incorrect.
There was
drama.
There's another funny part about it where just out of nowhere, he's like, he never brings up like sensitive topics, and then out of nowhere, he's like, oh man, my dad just died. He's like, oh, but that's fine. It's like, and then at the very end of the sketch, he stops for a second while they're playing games, and he's like, hey, sorry for being a pussy about my dad. Oh no, I might have to show you that one, but yeah, it's fun. But I would say that would be, it's not nearly as controversial as the word association sketch, but it's poking fun at a gay man being friends. I don't know. I just think it's a funny sketch. I don't know if it's the best example of this. I might have to find
send it to me, and
I'll
I'll tell you if I find it funny.
All right. Well, you can
hopefully it'll be funnier than this episode was.
Ah, blasphemy.
I laughed only at the first Richard Pryor monologue thing.
I feel like you just kind of got uncomfortable with the racial jokes, but you got, but that is a lot.
Yeah,
I believe that's a lot of Richard Pryor's type of humor, though. So
right, which is why when you were like earlier, you were like, he had his dude write all the jokes. I was like, wait, what? Like he wrote all of the jokes that made me so cringe.
Because he likes to point out like how stupid racism is and stuff like that. That's what the jokes were meant for. It wasn't meant to be
uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, you'll have.
Wait. I'm what they might call a snowflake.
You're a snowflake?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm over here getting all uncomfortable with the racial jokes. Like,
oh my gosh, snowflake.
Like a little snowflake.
Oh my. All right. Well, you can find me at Dragon Blazer Productions on Facebook, the Instagram, the YouTube, the TikToks. You can also find me on the X, I believe it is called now, on Dragon Blazer Pro.
Can you guess if I changed the Facebook yet by the look of oops on my face?
No, you should. You can find it.
I really need to do that. You need to message me on the weekend when I've got time.
Okay. I'll try. I'll try to remember. I'm forgetful too, though. So.
Well, we both just stink at remembering.
All right. Well,
we'll get there. We'll get there.
All right. Well, till next time.
Right. You could check. You could leave a comment, and someday I will check them. I have not yet. Hopefully there aren't any comments yet, but I should figure out where they would be and how to check them. I'll work on that this week.
Fair enough.
Sorry, I'm the worst co-host ever.
I
do nothing but watch the show.
I was about to make a Saturday Night Live joke, but since you haven't seen it yet, I don't want you to take offense to it, considering you're a snowflake.
Oh.
I was gonna do the sign off they do in season 2 with Dan Aykroyd. And did I tell you that one?
No. So hit me with it.
Jennifer, you ignorant slut. That's the that Dan Aykroyd and Jane Curtin.
That's half right.
They're the Jane Curtin and Dan Aykroyd are the takeover weekend update after Chevy Chase leaves, and that's a bit that they do whenever like they're in an argument. Dan Aykroyd would end the argument by saying, "Jan, you ignorant slut." So it's
that's
a quote, and I'm not necessarily calling you an ignorant slut.
That's okay. I am ignorant on some things.
I think you'll enjoy it when you get
I think everybody is ignorant on some things. And hey, it never hurts to be a slut. We don't slut shame around here.
Yeah, no, I'm a firm supporter.
Nope.
All right.
The better.
Till next week.
Stay slutty.